Hi guys, I keep having to re-record this because I keep getting distracted by these cute little black squirrels. They're eating raspberries off like like whatever's left on these bushes. So cute. Anyway, and the first two cards I'm going to read are the Mystical Shaman Oracles, and they're both sevens. I don't have the book with me, so I'm just going with how I feel. There's a lot of sixes, there's sevens, and there's nines in here. Let me see. Yep. So yeah, that's cool. Anyway, maybe that means something to somebody. But the water card to me always kind of reminds me of, I know in the description they talk about, how when we contain water, it kind of like loses its power. Almost. It's more like, the damage that can be caused by like a raging river or a flood isn't there anymore if it's contained, right? However, like if you dive too deep into it, it can be, and you don't allow yourself to go with it, right? So there's something here about allowing the flow, but kind of balancing, it's always freaking balancing the ability to control the flow, whether that be creativity, whether that be like, your emotions or just the flow of things in your life. And then we have staying still. So a lot of times in our lives, I feel like we kind of get like these pauses where we're either, things happen and we might think at the moment that we're stuck, that we're not doing something, right? Like, oh, I have to do this. I think these two cards being combined feels like we're kind of being asked to kind of be the observer, so to speak, and use this opportunity, whether you're trying to do something or whether you're overly emotional about something, or maybe you have too much going on creatively. Is that a word? I don't know. But if it isn't, I made it up. But anyway, so, kind of like allow yourself to observe your emotions. Don't overanalyze, don't judge, but just observe in the moment what is going on and why you're feeling that way. You know what I mean? I wouldn't dive deep because, sometimes when you dive too deep, you can drown, right? And don't want to drown in this emotion. We want to allow it to flow in a natural way. And also with this creativity, if this is something that like you're overextending yourself in something, then it doesn't become fun anymore, right? Then it just becomes like work and it becomes something that you're consumed by, which I feel like I do that a lot. So whoever this is for, I feel like you might be in a moment where you're kind of at a standstill and you might feel like you're stuck, but you're not stuck. You're just kind of in an opportunity where you can kind of look at things and how they're flowing. And I feel like that's what you're being asked to do. And so my first column, which, is always how it's kind of you or whatever, either describes you or the situation. We have the Ace of Wands and we have the Page of Wands. So the Ace of Wands can be a spark of inspiration. It can also be like a new opportunity, something that you're passionate about. It can also be like an aha moment in that way too. There's so many things that it could be. It can also be like a new, like spiritual insight. It can be something that, maybe you're getting a spiritual download. With this Page of Wands here, I feel like this might even be a message. I feel like this is some type of like message that you're getting intuitively. I don't know why, but that's what it feels like. And so maybe while we're sitting there observing this flow, we're being asked to kind of pay attention to that. Or maybe that's what you are doing, since this is kind of like the first thing is kind of like who you are, or, describes whoever this message is about. Maybe that's what it is you're really, you're confusing the signs sometimes, I think. And we do that. We see things and we get excited about things and we confuse our excitedness and our passion for, something out, we miss things because rather than sitting with it and letting it go and allowing it to move us. I kind of said something to my husband the other day because like I have so many ideas that I want to do and I get excited. I get really excited. And then I'll go so fast that I kind of like lose the fun of the thing. And then it becomes like I have to because I already started this thing, right? So I told him, you know what? I'm just going to go with whatever sparks me at the moment. And then until I meet resistance. And that's how I'll know that that's not the thing, or that's how I'll know to change, right? And I think that that's kind of what somebody's being asked to do. Allow your intuition and that passion to guide you a little bit, but don't do it in a way that where you're containing it. Allow that river to flow a little bit. So you're kind of observing it. So it's kind of like you're not at a standstill. You're in a position to really use your intuition and your emotions as a guidebook. And then my second position, that's always kind of like what we need to work on. And then we have the Sun, and then we have the Seven of Pentacles. So maybe this is saying that like somebody, maybe you are working hard and you need to kind of lighten up a little bit. Maybe this is somebody that needs to kind of like have more fun. Or this is saying something about, you know, if you're somebody who, you know, you're doing something that you're not enjoying, maybe you should really look into what type of thing that if you worked hard, you would be okay because you enjoy it, right? But also, this could be saying that you are coming into the hard work that you're doing is going to bring this ray of sunshine. It's going to bring this happiness that you've been looking for. Maybe this standstill that you're feeling, or this, what's the word I'm looking for? And I probably said it like 3 or 4 times already. Maybe you feeling stuck is really, you know, this is that point where, okay, you've done this work and you've gotten to this point and you haven't seen the things that you want to see come into fruition, right? And I feel like this is saying that they are coming and that your work is not for nothing. The hard work that you've done and the seeds that you've sown, right? You're coming to the point to where you're going to start seeing something. So, and maybe recognize that. Maybe that's part of the observing part. Maybe, you know, really pay attention to the little things that maybe you don't think of as success, but they are success. Maybe that's for somebody. And then the third column is, you know, kind of like, you know, what our assets are, what we can either pull upon, or what type of like people around us or energy around us, energy we have, skills we have, our assets, right? And we have the Hermit, and then we have the Seven of Cups. So, and I've been getting the Seven of Cups a lot lately, which makes sense because my brain is like, hey, let's do this. Hey, I want to do that. It's crazy. But it's also opportunity, this being the things that we have available to us. I think with the Hermit, this is saying that, you know, you've really had the opportunity to kind of sit. And right now that's an opportunity too. Like if you have like a standstill, maybe you have the opportunity to kind of look at these things a little bit clearer. You know, from the wisdom that you've kind of gotten from the past. I mean, you know, the Hermit, sometimes when we get the Hermit card, we think that that's telling you to go into these, like, you know, these Hermit modes. But it could be that you've already came out of the cave, right? You've gotten to that point and you've already gotten those insights, those wisdoms. But if not, then yeah, I think that you're this time to like kind of slow down and be the observer. This is where you're going to do it. And then look at those 7 cups and really, try to get those insights and those downloads that you maybe aren't seeing real good. And again, use those emotions and those, intuitions to kind of, guide you where that needs to be. And I feel like having this in our area of our assets, this is saying that you have that ability. You're able to kind of guide yourself in a way, right? A lot of times the Hermit, people think of it as like, you know, we're guiding other people, but a lot of times we're guiding ourselves. Especially like in this aspect, I feel like we need to kind of look into our inner mentor, right? We all have this deep-seated knowledge that I don't think we realize we have. And a lot of times it takes other instances or maybe observing somebody else doing something to realize like, oh yeah. And it's something that you could have probably came to your own conclusion, but it takes sitting there and not letting the worries and the things that are flying by your mind to distract you. So I really feel like a lot of this is about really taking a moment that you have. This is somebody who has a moment and maybe you're not realizing that it is a good thing. And this is giving you the opportunity to really look through your choices and feel. And then the last column, I always like to do that as my kind of like my advice. And, you know, what the next step is. And so we have the 6 of Wands and we also have the 6 of Cups. So 6 together is always like a good sign. And I feel like this is saying like you have the 6 of Cups. So this is like, you know, a lot of times we look at the 6 of Cups as like nostalgia, things like that. But this, I feel like this is finding success in things that bring us that type of feeling, like that childlike nostalgia, that feeling of, happiness, that like when you were a little kid, the moments that you did feel happiness, or things that kind of make you feel lighter. That's what makes me think that this is. I feel like you're going to find that success when you have that lighter feeling. So maybe that's for somebody, I don't know. But maybe you just kind of relax a little bit and quit pushing yourself so hard. Darn it. And so my last two cards are my Liminal Forest Oracles, and I have Intuition and I have Storm. So maybe this standstill, or this kind of moment where we kind of feel like we're stuck, it feels like a storm, but we have the ability to kind of like use our intuition to guide us, right? All through these cards, I feel, especially in like these two cards, I feel like there's a lot of like flowing through here. If you look, the sun, that bird's flying. There's just a lot of like movement, and especially in these two cards, I feel like they're going with the flow, right? With the storm, you see that crow down there, he's keeping warm, but he's not letting it phase him at all. And with the intuition card, that bat is being guided by his intuition, right? So I feel like that's really what this is saying. And I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Those cute little squirrels are distracting me, but it's definitely, somebody needs to kind of take that time to don't let your emotions or like your ideas overwhelm you. Really focus on in a relaxed way. I keep saying to kind of calm down, but use the inner guidance that you have. You are your own hermit, right? You are your own mentor, your own guide. Allow yourself to be guided by your inner knowledge. So I hope that helps somebody today, and I will talk to you guys later.